Well, hello and welcome. This is Mark Goes Outdoors, and I'm Mark, and today I am going to be talking a little bit about my change from the Gerber Quadrant to the Victorinox Hiker as my everyday carry. Now, this is like comparing apples and oranges, but I've spent about a year while carrying the Gerber Quadrant researching which multi-tool I want to carry, and I had some criteria I wanted to meet, and during that year, I got a lot of good use out of this knife. I loved it. The blade was nice. I feel like it wasn't very aggressive because of the sheep's foot blade, and it had a classic look with that black and brown. I still enjoy carrying this knife and using it, but I was always missing the screwdriver, a Phillips screwdriver that I could use to open up packaging that used screw down packaging and opening up battery packs on toys, things like that. So I was originally looking at the Gerber arm bar or the arm bar drive, different tools like that, and I just wasn't sold on them. And then I started looking into Victorinox knives, and I landed on the Hiker. Now, the Hiker and the Tinker are incredibly similar. The Hiker is 3 layers, meaning there are 3 rows of tools. The Tinker is only 2. And the thing that sets them apart is the saw blade. And I went with the Hiker instead of the Tinker because of the saw blade. I do just enough work outside regularly enough to warrant this. Every spring, I have to trim back bushes, cut off limbs, reshape with bigger tools, of course. But this thing comes in handy for the smaller branches that I want to get rid of. I love having this on me, and it was only $4 more to get the Hiker. One thing I liked about the Gerber Quadrant was the blade length and the sheep's foot style. Granted that the Hiker does not have a sheep's foot blade, but overall I feel like the Hiker does not look incredibly aggressive. The main blade ended up being just about the same length with a drop point style, and it is incredibly sharp enough to do anything I want it to do. In the long run, I've decided here not to use the main blade for daily tasks. Instead, I use the secondary blade, which is the smaller blade. With this, I can easily open mail, cut down cardboard, open packages, and just do all those little things that come up almost daily. It's a very nice feature to have this secondary blade. And as we're looking at this, we come to the third big reason. So we had the saw, the sharp blade, and the secondary blade, which is a nice feature. Now the third reason for this, the dedicated Phillips screwdriver. I do a lot of battery changing in toys and gear around the house, so this thing really comes in handy for that. I no longer have to go grab a secondary tool. That was what I was sorely missing from the Gerber Quadrant. Now obviously I bought this knowing there was no screwdriver, but I never really paid attention to how often I actually needed one. Now, cycling through the rest of these tools, everything else is just icing on the cake. So we have the opening layer, which is your can opener and bottle opener. We've got, on this left side here, the bottle opener, pry bar, giant flathead screwdriver, and then this notch for stripping wires, which you use the blade, insert the wire, drop the blade down, spin, and then pull. I don't do a lot of wire work, but every now and then, I do. On this side, we have the can opener, small Phillips, which I love these old style can openers. I think they work really slick. Instead of turning a knob, you're turning the can and pushing. It's really, in my opinion, about the same amount of work to open the can. It does leave a sharper edge on the can though, so be wary of that. The small Phillips I think is a bit of a stretch. If your screw is very recessed into the object, you're not going to be able to reach it, but it is something nonetheless. Finally, we have the tweezers, which actually work really, really well. And then finally, we have the pick. I do not use this as a toothpick, but I do use it to, for instance, clean out my headphones or get gunk out of my knife after using it a whole bunch, things like that. It does come with a key ring, but I don't like the key ring because I carry it loose in pocket. So all of those things combined really made this a worthy purchase in my eyes. The final tool is something I have yet to use, but it's there if you need it. It's the awl. So you got a punch and a drill. With the sharp blade, you can drill a hole, and then a sewing eye right here if you need to do some crude sewing work. I've seen this go through leather to do some rudimentary stitches. This is not a tool I foresee using a whole lot, but it's there in case I ever need it. The other thing to consider was size. With this 3-layer knife, it is just about the same thickness considering the pocket clip. The Tinker's 2 layers, so that makes the Tinker actually a little slimmer than the Quadrant. And as far as length goes, the Hiker is a little shorter. So altogether, it takes up less real estate in my pocket. I was a little surprised. I thought for sure that having 3 layers was going to make this a little too bulky, but sometimes I forget it's there. So all in all, the Gerber Quadrant has done a nice job, but I always needed more tools, and I'm very happy with this Victorinox Hiker. This is my first Victorinox knife, and other than collecting more just for the sake of collecting, I don't really see any need for any other tool. I personally don't need pliers, and I don't need a big set of drill bits, although that is one thing that's tempted me towards other tools from Gerber that uses standard hex bits. It might be tempting to minimize my tool set at home by buying a really capable multi-tool that can do a lot of things well. All right, well, thank you so much for watching. Take care.